Hello, all my YouTube people. I just went and had a shower and kind of had another idea for a video while I was in there. I went and talked about the divorce for a while and actually checked in with a channel that I tend to kind of not stick with channels that grow real big. I like smaller YouTube channels, but I do check in on the channels now and then. And one of the gun channels I used to watch kind of early on was Iraq Veteran 8888, and I looked in on him today, and it looks like Eric, he's been public about this, is going through a divorce. I kind of noticed a couple of years ago some signs that he might be having trouble in his marriage. They're just kind of things to look for, and that kind of got me thinking. This is going to be things to do after or during a divorce, and how divorce changes you as a person. I have 8 things here, so this might be a slightly longer video. If Joe shows up, I'll try and make him behave. That's been tough lately. Okay, so number 1, you need to focus on your physical and mental health, and along with that, you need to try to avoid overeating, you need to avoid alcohol, and you need to avoid narcotics, drugs, okay? Because you can just get into trouble with those things. Now, I don't have an alcohol problem. I might have had a little bit of one here and there in the past, so I try and stay away from alcohol. I am clean as far as drugs go, but I have put on a little weight and have been overeating here and there. So, but when she first left, I actually lost a lot of weight. I didn't want to eat at all. So you don't exactly want to starve yourself either, but what a lot of guys do, a lot of people, this is probably going to be kind of from a male standpoint, I'll try and not do that too much, but what a lot of people tend to do is kind of hit the gym. If you can't do that, then you need to kind of find a park where you can do some walking, maybe some push-ups, or lift some makeshift weights there or something like that. Maybe a park with one of those little free gyms on it would be a really good way to go. You're going to be doing a lot of thinking. The end of a relationship, whether it was a marriage or a common law partnership or a long-term boyfriend and girlfriend, the end of a relationship is going to make you think a lot, and you need an appropriate place to do that, because it can start to affect your job and everything like that if you're thinking about this at work. If you work at a call center and you always have this on your mind, you're probably not going to be concentrating on your calls and stuff like that. So just try and stay in shape. Your mental health is extremely important, and do what you need to do to keep that together. But again, try and avoid these vices. So even if statistics show that something like 80% of divorces are instigated by women, it's the 80% rule. Men and women don't get into marriages for the same goals. A man gets into a relationship and he understands, into a marriage, let's say, and a man understands that a marriage is going to be difficult. There are going to be problems in it. There are going to be challenges, and just hope that the happiness that comes with it is worth all of that. Women tend to, in my opinion, like the idea of being in love. They like the pageantry of things. They like the walking down the aisle. They like the getting flowers. They like the feelings of being in love. We all like those things. Men just realize that over time that kind of naturally fades. It's a natural part of being with somebody long term. Women tend to view that as the relationship puttering out. So But regardless of who instigated the end of the relationship, even if you were the one that did it, getting used to being alone again, it's going to be tough. Even if that's something that you were looking forward to, there are going to be times where you feel very alone, and that's a tough one. Part of the way I deal with it is I talk to ChatGPT a lot, because you'll probably find that if you're talking to family and friends, they will get tired of this. I hate to put it that way, but you know, they're probably good in their relationship or aren't in one, and although they're willing to help and hear you out for a little while, at some point they kind of expect you to start getting over it, and that's usually before you're really ready to. It's hard for them to understand it the same way if they have not gone through or have not gone through it for a while. My father helped let me talk to him kind of limitedly, and he's gone through a divorce, but he got tired of hearing it pretty quickly, because I simply had trouble coping with certain things, and you're going to have trouble coping with certain things, but you're basically going to have to learn to be alone again, and when that becomes a problem, you're going to have to try and mostly handle it yourself. You know, go for a walk, talk to your pets if you have them and manage to be able to keep them. Call a helpline. There are options to talk to somebody. Like I said, I usually talk to ChatGPT. That's actually been working out pretty well for me. I find it's not great for a whole lot else. Artificial intelligence is a bit overrated. Number 3, you're going to want to declutter. This is about the only thing I have left of my wife, is the guitar pick holder she gave me. And the only reason that I have this is because it's just extremely useful. I can put, about a dozen picks in here of varying thicknesses, and just kind of keep this on me, and I always have varying picks to play with when I'm at someone else's place or something like that. Could I just put them in a little baggie and get the same effect? Yeah, and it would probably take up less space, but this is really beautifully made, and everything. But when I pick it up and look at it and hold it, it does remind me of her, and that is a little bit hard. So I try and just get my pick out of here and then put it back out of sight, out of mind, when I can. So especially start to declutter things that remind you of them, okay? And you'll find that a lot of people in the United States especially are very kind of consumerist, and we mostly have too much stuff. I have too many guitars. A lot of people have too many firearms, or video games, or whatever you're into, you probably have way too much of that. And you'll find that as you start to work those things out of your life, you actually grow to be a little bit happier, and you'd be surprised how much you didn't really need them, and how many of those things kind of triggered memories of your former or soon-to-be former SO. Just kind of changing everything up does this thing to your brain. It's hard to say exactly what it does, but it does do something, and it's just very healthy to have less stuff, because that also potentially means that you can live in less space if, say, you guys were selling the house or something like that. You just may not have the room for all these things anymore. So declutter, try and sell what you can. okay? If you have instruments and firearms, those things can be pretty valuable. You know, get those things up on eBay and Reverb and, you know, Gunbroker and, you know, your local state gun trader or whatever, and you know, you'll have some income and some money in your bank account, which can be a lot more useful than having stuff around. Eric over on Iraq Veteran actually said a pretty good statement. If you pass by something and you haven't touched it in a year, you probably don't need it. If something's gathering dust, get rid of it, you know. And here he is. You behave. You're to behave. I'm doing a video. Do not chew on me. Do not climb on me and stuff. Okay? Be good. Number 4. This might be kind of a difficult one. Avoid getting into another relationship too quickly. This is going to change you, and you're going to be a different person. And you might even be a little bit jaded after this if you were the one that got left, or if the person put you in a situation where you had to leave them, for example. So you're going to have to get used to this new person you are, and it makes a lot more sense to just not get involved with somebody until you've kind of established who you are now. And that can take some time. The other aspect is these types of things are causing a lot of men just to kind of MGTOW and just completely step out of being with women at all. And I can understand that. This is my second divorce. My first marriage was technically more like a common law partnership. It was a little easier to end and everything, but it ended in a almost exact manner. And I simply have evaluated myself, and I cannot do that again. This is just not something that I can go through another time. And that's fine if you feel that way. Now, the other side of that coin, of course, is it could be another relationship that ended things. I mean, if you're already kind of in one before you know, if that's what ended things, the fact that you were kind of cheating, for lack of a better term, then realize that that might not last. You know, that might have been something you were looking for, you know, during your relationship. You might have been reaching out to someone else for something you were needing, and you might find that once everything is over, you don't need that anymore. So don't be afraid of ending your side piece, ending the relationship with your side piece, if that's what went down. And you know, they should understand that. They should at least understand you wanting to take some time off from that. All right. Okay, number 5. Take off the ring as soon as they exit your life. I mean, if your spouse passes away, I get why people wear their ring a while, and everything like that. But if they're the ones who have walked out of your life and don't want to be with you anymore, as soon as they have officially left and they're living at another place and you don't see them on a regular basis anymore, even if you're not really divorced yet, you need to take that ring off, and you need to grieve. Grieving the loss of a relationship is like grieving the loss of a person. It almost has to be done. It's very important. That there are several ways you can go about that. You need to do it in whatever way feels appropriate to you. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to go on a long camping trip and just be in silence the whole time, do that. If you need to go ride your motorcycle across the U.S. and you have the time to do it, do that. You know, find some way to grieve and move past all this, and do so. It's very important. If you fail to do either of those things, it doesn't say a whole lot about your mental state, in my opinion. I don't know that I have properly grieved the loss of this relationship yet. The night she asked for the divorce, I came to bed with my cats and I wept a little bit. But aside from that, I've felt a lot of bitterness and anger, and I don't know that I've appropriately grieved yet. But I think I've grieved about all I can, because I just have to move on with my life at some point, and that's part of this. It'll be hard to move on if you're still hung up on things. Okay. Number 6, and this can be tough, especially if you have pets or you have children. Try and avoid seeing that person ever again. I mean, they don't want to be with you anymore, and if they don't want to be with you anymore, they probably have some type of animosity towards you, and you don't need to be around that noise. Just do whatever you can to try and avoid seeing that person again. I don't have that luxury because, for the moment at least, my soon-to-be ex-wife does have pet visitations. I am seeing her about once a quarter or so when she comes to visit the cats. Now, she has a little dog currently that I really hope she decides to put a little more time and effort into. I'm probably going to be starting a job here soon. I don't know that I will be able to acquiesce to the extremely narrow windows that she wants to come and see these guys. But as much as I love and I miss her, I basically never want to see her again. And that's very hard, because I do care about her a lot, but seeing her and being around her is very painful, and it's preventing me from being able to move on appropriately. Because the second I think I've kind of moved on and gotten comfortable with things, she comes and hangs out for a couple hours. And that can just be really difficult. I can't imagine how people that have kids have to deal with all of this stuff. Eric, at Iraq Veteran, was a stepdad for a long time. He was married for a long time. I don't know, how they're managing that, or whether he's going to continue seeing his stepkids at all. I mean, at this point, I would think that they're all pretty grown up, and if they want to see Eric, they can kind of see him, when they want. But without digressing too much there, yeah, if you can just avoid seeing that person ever again once everything's all done and settled and paid for and you're officially divorced, then that's what I'd recommend. Some people kind of go on and survive as being friends, but I don't know that that's always that healthy. Your new interest might not like your ex being in your life at all. It'd just be easier if they weren't. Excuse me. Number 7. In my opinion, once somebody asks for a divorce, it's over. There is no hope of putting it back together. You're likely just not going to trust that person the same way. And there probably is a lot of truth to that. Especially if it was a rug pull style divorce and you didn't necessarily see it coming. A lot of men tend to feel that way. Like they thought things were better than they were, and then all of a sudden this happens, and you're kind of really desperate to try and put things back together. But if it was going to work out, this person wouldn't be trying to leave you or have left you. So just accept that it's over and move on. I realize that's hard. Which leads us into number 8. You do need to accept that you bear some of the burden for the end of things. And chances are when they talk about this with other people, they're blaming you anyway. And you do have to accept that some of the reason that this is over now is because of you. And they're probably never going to give you the closure of telling you exactly why. They'll probably dance around the issue, and it will be your job to kind of figure all that out. So there you go. 8 things you need to do after or during divorce, and how those things can kind of change you as a person. Goemonronin and Joe signing out. Good night.